A familiar name. He served as state's attorney for Prince George's County for 9 years, but now he is Maryland's new U.S. Congressman representing the state's 4th congressional district.
And that includes parts of Prince George's County and a small portion of Montgomery County. He was ceremoniously sworn in yesterday as part of a new Congress.
That's right, and he joins us here in the studio this morning. Congressman Ivey, thank you so much for joining us. I know yesterday must have felt like a whirlwind.
It was definitely a whirlwind. Some surreal parts, some very moving parts too.
Absolutely. Let's start talking about the House. It's divided and you're in the minority. How are you going to face all the challenges ahead?
Well, the first step will be picking a speaker. Yesterday, as people may know at this point, the Republican caucus wasn't able to get enough votes for Mr. McCarthy for him to get selected. And nothing else can happen until that does. So, for example, I was ceremoniously sworn in yesterday, but not formally sworn in. So I'm actually still not a congressman yet. That we can't move forward anybody with respect to legislation, hearings. Nothing in the House can happen until we pick a speaker. So hopefully that'll happen today.
I want to get to a Maryland Matters article back from November. It had this headline that Glenn Ivey enters the House determined to prevent democracy from crumbling. Based on what you saw yesterday, do you have real concerns about the state of democracy?
Well, that's a different kind of crumbling that happened yesterday. I think what I was alluding to before was the January 6th riots and those sorts of attacks. You had other, for example, the governor of Michigan, there was a plot to kidnap and assassinate her.
Right.
That was prosecuted as well. So that's a really top level concern. Yesterday, though, was really troubling to see. I mean, the Republicans are supposed to be taking the lead on moving the House forward. And yesterday it just didn't go well, to say the least. They were trying to take the wheel of the car, but couldn't find the keys to get it started, apparently. So hopefully that'll get better today. But we do have a lot of large issues to deal with along those lines, including legislation that carries over from what was done in the last caucus. I think we need to do more with respect to gun reform and addressing crime in the streets. Inflation's still a challenge, but I think there were bipartisan efforts from the last Congress that we should see move forward, and hopefully more of the Biden agenda can take place as well.
You're also talking about an issue we've been covering here, where the FBI building should be moved out of D.C. You're saying it should come to Maryland, specifically Prince George's County. My question is, what's the payoff for residents of Maryland and Prince George's County, or wherever it lands in the Free State?
Well, it's an interesting question, because the site selections, there were 3 already. One was in Virginia, 2 were in Prince George's County. Maryland has put up roughly $500,000 to have it come out and be brought out to one of the Prince George's County sites. So for federal taxpayers, they would save potentially $500 million if it's brought to Maryland. And we think we win on the merits for other reasons as well, like the location, where it's close to a lot of the field offices for the FBI, as opposed to where the Virginia site would be.
And also in Springfield, right?
Yeah, they've got a Springfield site that they want to use, but they can start building immediately in Maryland.
I was going to say, what's the timeline here?
Well, it's been, I think it's about 11 years they've been sort of trying to figure this out. During the Trump administration, he derailed the process entirely. So there was a restart that took place 2 years ago, but hopefully we can get it back on track and get it out to Prince George's County, because like I said, I think it's the better location. It saves federal taxpayer dollars.
Kind of walk us through what you believe the next 24 hours is going to look like, at least in the House. There's a real conversation happening that McCarthy would have to look to Democrats in order to kind of clinch the speakership. Is there any way possible that there could be any sort of compromise that Democrats are willing to provide him the votes he needs to get to 218?
I think the Democrats are willing to try and figure something out. Obviously, there'd have to be some sort of benefit to the Democrats to work with him on that. But I don't know if he could actually pull that off and maintain the Republican caucus. So I'm not sure that there's an exit strategy for McCarthy that works at this point. Yesterday there were 20 people that voted against him repeatedly. And he'd had months to try and figure it out. So you would think that if there'd been room for compromise within the Republican caucus, they would have found that yesterday, but they didn't. So apparently they ordered a lot of pizza last night. They're trying to figure it out. So we'll see what happens.
If only we had a crystal ball.
Congressman-elect Glenn Ivey, thank you so much for your time, sir. I appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Thank you.